Hey guys, it's Brad from Revenue Skyward. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have an awesome interview for you with a very successful realtor and personal friend of mine, Peter Butler. I will have all of his information below for you guys, and I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this. He has gone from the Army to factory jobs to becoming a very successful realtor. He has immense knowledge in real estate and entrepreneurship, and he is a fantastic person and an excellent friend. So I hope you guys enjoy, and if you like it, please share, leave a comment, and let people know. Thanks. Okay, so before we even really get into it, it means a lot to me that you come here and do this because you didn't have to. And I know that people's time is really valuable to them. So I just want to right off the bat say,
no problem.
I really, really appreciate you doing this because I think we're going to get a lot of value out of this, both of us.
Absolutely.
And anybody that's watching.
Sure.
So I'll jump right into it. Tell us your story of how you came to be an entrepreneur.
Well, as you know, I spent 10 years in the military, retired in 98. Spent 8 years in a factory type job, and realized that I wasn't going to retire in a factory like job. It wasn't for me. I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't happy. Being told when to show up to work, when to go home,
right,
when to have lunch, where to stand, being told how to think. I mean, it was somebody else's dream. It wasn't mine. I actually felt as if I put my life on hold while I was at work, and then once I was done, went home, and my life began again.
Right.
And that's no way to live. So I went back to school and became an appraiser. I was an appraiser for 5 years. And then, as I say, I made the move to the dark side in 2010. I'm now in sales.
Right.
I'm a broker, real estate broker, and I could not be happier. I'm really happy with where I am today.
Right. That's fantastic. Like, I think that's where a lot of people struggle. Myself included. I mean, I have a job, right?
Right.
And it does feel like I'm on pause until I get back, and then I can carry on.
Right.
You know, but it's interesting that you felt that way having come from the military. I mean, the military, they tell you where to stand, what to sit.
They sure do.
You know,
absolutely.
When to jump and how high.
And actually, to be fair, it's not 100% like that. I mean, I had a lot of fellas that when I joined, they said to me, Peter, how I couldn't do that. I couldn't have someone telling me what to do every day. I couldn't have someone telling me, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'd ask them, well, where do you work? Well, do you have a boss? Do you have a foreman? You're told when to go to work. You're told when you can go home. You're told when you can eat. You have no control over that.
Right.
You're doing the exact same thing. And honestly, in the trade, I was a radio technician, and then I remustered and became a terminal equipment technician. And you know what? I went to work from 7:30 to 4 every day. I had lunch at 12 o'clock. Sure, I mean, there was extras as well. I mean, there were tours and stuff like that. But the day-to-day was just like any other job. The only difference was that I wore a uniform to work. And I had a boss, just like you do.
Which I never thought about.
And all that sort of thing. Absolutely. It was definitely a different way of life. When I first got out, I bet you I spent 2 years trying to acclimate myself to civilian life. It was a challenge. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
But I was told. You're right. I was told when to show up, when to go home, what I was going to wear, how I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, you're in control.
Yeah.
You're the boss.
Yeah. Eventually, those directions from other people get tiring, and you realize, hey, wait a second.
Absolutely.
And I think you've said it before, and I've heard it before many times. Is you can live your life fulfilling someone else's dream, or live your life fulfilling your own. Those are your only two options, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so talk about a little bit about some of the struggles of entrepreneurship in your industry, because I know starting off as a realtor can be a very struggling time for people.
It sure can.
And I mean, the numbers don't lie. There's vast amounts of beginning realtors that just sort of peter out. So
exactly. Yeah, I did catch that. No, you're absolutely correct. The biggest challenge, I think, for new realtors when they get into the business is the inconsistent paycheck. You're not paid every second Thursday. If I did a deal today, middle of March, I may not get paid until the middle of May. So there's that challenge as well. and you can go during the off months. I mean, of course, the spring is a very busy season, and the off months, January, February, you may go a couple months without a paycheck. So there's definitely a balance you have to learn, and you have to understand when it comes to real estate. The second thing, of course, is keeping your business current. I mean, the way marketing, the way advertising, the way people communicate is always changing. It's an ever-changing market. So honestly, every day you need to be educating yourself on what's current and what is popular, and the best way is to service your clients, help them reach their goals. So that's a big challenge as well. I mean, and I mentioned about the fact that there's busy times and slower times. The economy itself goes through a business cycle.
Right.
You're well aware of that. When rates are great, and the economy's good, and finance is good, and people are flourishing and doing well, and then the business cycle, of course, will peak, and then there could be some downtimes where the market tanks and it's quiet and there's not a lot of activity, and rates are high. And when rates are high and it's expensive to borrow, people will renovate instead of move in my business. So you need to be aware of that as well. And, those are some of the struggles and challenges involved in real estate.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit about staying current,
right,
and the ways that different people are communicating differently. So maybe you can touch a little bit more on that, because you're big on social.
Sure.
How has social impacted your industry, and where do you see it just in general going forward?
Well, social media, of course, is very pivotal in my business. I mean, people are online. There's no denying that. They get their information online. A large portion of the population have smartphones, and they're accessing websites through mobile sites, of course. So your personal website must be mobile friendly.
Right.
But social media is where the clients are. I'm finding that buyers are able to go online, and they can search for properties that are for sale online. They can go into the Facebook community groups and talk about Simcoe, for example. What kind of service groups are in Simcoe? What are the schools like? And they're having conversations with people that live in these areas.
Right.
They're able to go on Google Maps, and they can walk a street. They can walk the street through Google Maps to see what's in the area, what the sidewalks
without ever leaving their home.
From the comfort of their home.
Right.
With their tablet or whatever it may be, their laptop. So you need to be current. Back in the day, the listings were in catalogs and books, and realtors kept those catalogs very close to their chest. And as a buyer, you wouldn't know what was for sale. You had to talk to a realtor to find out what was for sale. Well, that's not the case anymore. When I have buyers come into the office and they want to look for a property, if they contact me over Facebook or through email or what have you, they've already reviewed 35 listings, and they've virtually walked the neighborhoods, and they've actually went for car rides, and they said, "No, Peter, we want to look at these 4 houses. We've already reviewed those other 34."
Right.
So my job as a realtor has changed from what it was years ago.
Right.
Right. So social media is very important in advertising and marketing, in everything that I do. That's for sure. Absolutely.
Right.
We communicate even.
So, for anybody that doesn't know Peter, you started a Monday morning show.
Oh, my Monday morning show, yeah, absolutely.
On Facebook that's got quite a bit of local attention around here. I mean, you get hundreds of views.
I do. Well, actually close to 1,000 views in 1 week. Yeah.
I just look at the numbers I can see if how many people are on at the time and whatnot, and extrapolate. But yeah, I mean that's one technique that you use that really takes just your time, because the tools that are available right now, Facebook Live, this is all free.
It is.
It is. As long as you have an internet connection, you're good. And I think people need to take more advantage of that, because the more traditional forms of media, and I know you are not an advertiser, you're largely referral based, but those traditional forms of media are starting to collapse a little bit around this new way of communicating, like you said.
Exactly.
So this is probably my favorite question. What role does fear play in your decision making in life and as an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, everyone deals with uncertainty. And some people, are let fear rule what they do, unfortunately, but you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I mean, to go from darkness to light, you need education, right, and knowledge. You can't let fear rule your life or your business or anything that you do. So to make good quality decisions, you need that education. Find out, get the answer before you make those decisions. That's so crucial, so important. So that's what I think the answer to that is. Now that being said, you're going to make wrong decisions. That happens.
Right.
It happens to everybody, not just entrepreneurs. Everybody. Sometimes we make wrong decisions. But
Tell me about it.
And this is the thing: we don't fail. We either win or we learn, and we need to learn from those things that didn't quite work out the way we thought, and we need to be ready to change and be adaptive to the situation in the market and what's happening.
Right.
So education, I say, if you've got something you're considering, learn all you can about it. And if you can't find enough information, speak to people that are actually doing it. Learn what you can so you can make good quality decisions.
Right. I find so the reason why I like this question the most and why I think a lot about it is fear, that decision. Like when you made that decision, hey, I'm going to jump from this secured paycheck at the factory to a question mark.
Yes.
In maybe not even getting a paycheck for a few months. That's a pretty big leap for a lot of people to make. And I'm not, myself included. And you know what? When you're on the other side now, you can look back and say, well,
sure,
what was there to be afraid about? Just believe in myself and look what happened, right?
Right.
And I'm finding that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is that fear aspect.
It sure is.
And maybe it was Zig Ziglar, fear is just false evidence appearing real.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, I worry more about things going wrong than things actually go wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that will keep you from maybe some greatness.
Right. Exactly.
You're stopping yourself.
Yeah.
You're the one holding yourself back.
Yeah. It's
Exactly.
You got to push through, right?
I've always had a job. I've worked from a young age. I've never worried about finding work. I'm not afraid to do anything. I've worked. I've delivered pizzas. I've been in the military. I drove truck. I've worked construction. I did flooring. I've been a real estate appraiser, like I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in a restaurant. I'm not afraid to work. I've always had to work. And you're right. People want to swim, but no one wants to let go outside of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to make that leap of faith. But with information.
Right.
When you've explored all aspects of
Right.
what it is you're considering.
Right.
Right?
So we bought, a good example of that is my wife and I bought a business this year, and it's going very well, but it was our first real foray
Right.
into taking that big leap. And man, I had every inch of that thing figured out in my brain before I signed that check.
Sure.
I mean, I had looked over all of the data, I had talked to people, I had looked at the demographics, looked at where the business could be going.
Good.
And it made that decision still scary, but manageable.
Sure.
You can manage it when you have that information on hand,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So I agree with you there for sure. Get all the information. Last question. What would be your best advice for a budding entrepreneur?
First of all, in this business and every business, like we mentioned before, things don't always go as planned. Sometimes things fall apart. When they do, and they will, don't start pointing fingers about what he did and what she did and what they were supposed to do and what they're doing. Don't go there. You go home, look in the mirror and say, what could that guy have done differently to prevent that from happening, and what can he do different next time?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the most important thing. Placing the blame and it's a negative activity. It brings you down and accomplishes nothing. But what can you learn from that when that happens? What can you do differently next time so that you don't have this happen again?
Right.
The second thing is get a mentor. There's lots of great people out there. Success isn't new. It's been done before. There's lots of great people that are willing to share their business with you. Believe it or not, successful people, I understand that even in real estate, it's very competitive, but successful people are happy to sit down and chat with you because they're not worrying about what everybody else is doing. They're focused on their business. their clients. If I spend my time worrying about what everybody else is doing, then I'm ignoring my business, and that's not what I'm about. I really, I'm not going to worry about what this person's doing and that person's doing. I'm focused on my clients and my business. And of course, the third thing, I had an instructor on one of my real estate courses, and he was just a miserable old coot. I could tell you some stories about this guy. But, we were sitting around as realtors, and we were chatting about lead generation and real estate coaching and all this sort of thing. And, he broke in and he says, do you want to know what the secret to success in real estate is? And he went over and he closes the classroom door. He comes back and he's all hunched over and he's whispering, very clandestine, He says, the secret to being successful in real estate, work hard every day. He goes over and closes the door, opens the door again, and he continued the class. And that's it. Work hard, that's the secret. Work hard every day.
Yeah.
Always be learning.
Yeah.
Every day is a school day. You need to be improving your skills and your knowledge, so you're better able to service your clients. Right? Absolutely. That's it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I very much appreciate your time. Like I said at the beginning, for anybody who needs a realtor, Peter Butler, Port Dover. I'll have all of his information in links below, so you can get a hold of him. Facebook, email.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. realtorpeterbutler@gmail.com.
There you go. So we'll have all that down below for you. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.